because I wanted
I
to
think
test
she
the
is.
link. I wanted to test the link for Cece because Emma said, "Is this room not working?" And then I thought you guys are going to think I'm crazy because why did she jump on and off again? So that's why I joined again. But yeah, Cece's right. I don't want to bring everybody down. I'm feeling just tired and low energy.
Well, but we might bring you up.
I know, but I just don't want to risk it.
You are always welcome here, Amber, however you feel to show up. And I also respect if you don't want to be here and you just want to take some time for you. So whatever.
To be here, I was on hold with the bank and trying to figure things out, and then somehow they messed up the call and put me back in the queue. So, and they said, "We have really high call volume," and I thought, oh, so I hung up. So otherwise I would still have been on it.
No, well, it's up to you. If you just want to come here and just quietly, you can just quietly listen in or whatever. It's entirely up to you. And if we start and then you go, no, or if you want to go now, whatever feels good is perfect. Yeah, but you're always welcome here because life is life, isn't it? Life is sometimes we're high and we're happy, and other days we're flat and we're so that's just the reality of being.
So true, so true. Anyways, I'll be quiet, and it's lovely to see you all, and I hope the learning was really good.
It was. I needed a holiday when I got back. I was tired, but good way, in a different way. It was really good to have some space. Actually, you don't realize how much you need that space and how reinvigorated for how much clearer I'm seeing things that were a problem. You know, there's it, and I know it. You know, like we all know it, but how often do we not do it? And it's like your system takes time to unwind and recalibrate. And yet we think, oh, I'll just take half a day, or I'll take a day and I'll squeeze bits in here, there, and everywhere. And actually, it took probably 2 or 3 days to kind of unwind from everything. And yeah, it was very interesting. And I thought, yeah, I remember now that my system needs the time to unwind, and then I can actually really steep in it.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Right.
So I had a couple of ideas of things for today, but I'm wondering what would feel really good for you guys. What would you? Because some of what I've looked at is a bit inquiring, and I've kind of come on, and I'm not sure that inquiry. I think we'll do that another day. And that's absolutely fine. And then also, Cece, you and I spoke to you about Cece and I were having a conversation. We're saying how much, you know, like the coaching gym, how much we value that real presence practice, that kind of having somewhere to sit and really just be with one another. And what I noticed before I went away is that I started responding to the external pressures as they looked, rather than just showing up as me, you know. And that was why I was like, I actually ended up taking more time than I'd planned, because I was just like, I just need to get out of that, being dragged back into that pattern.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, but we were also talking about, weren't we, about how I used to do a lot of acting and stuff. So I was really good at learning scripts and delivering lines. And I used to do my presentations like that, and my group stuff and my workshops. And when I went to NLP training, one of my things was I always really admired people who just seemed to be able to get up and stand and talk about anything. You know, they could speak their stuff. They seemed to do very little prep. They, you know, got things written on the penny postage stamp. And so I kind of like, I was like, oh, I want to do that. And so that was when we were doing the NLP presentation training, that was my goal. And I kind of really appreciate that. And that's something that I kind of want to hone personally more and more. And it was something we were talking about, wasn't it, Cece, about being able to show up and be ourselves no matter what. Because often the fear kind of creeps in, or we think we've got to put on another persona or whatever.
So we're trying to memorize scripts. Yeah.
Yeah, we think we need a script to perform. So, but I don't think that's right for today either.
And I'd love practice with that. So, yeah.
I'm throwing out, and actually the other thing that I'd prepared for, which we'll do at some point, I keep seeing fear showing up in people as a motivator. I'm noticing fear running through people's systems, or them having to go to the wall in order to take action. And so I've designed a little mini thing for us to do at some point around that, just to, as an inquiry to see, but also then to run some subtle energy stuff to actually free us of what we see, you know, and bring it into the field, release it, and then recalibrate the system to see how we might change differently. So
I don't know about Matt, but that certainly sounds juicy to me.
Yeah, that's actually really fascinating, because Hakan and I were talking about that exact topic 2 weeks ago, because I was describing kind of how I was doing things in the moment, and it was very that kind of going from the place I don't want to be to get to the place I want to be. And that maybe that wasn't such the right way to look at it. It's kind of coming from a place of fear, trying to get out of it, but as a motivator, and maybe that we had a long talk about maybe that's not the best way. You know, is there any other ways, or is that the truth? Just a lot of things. But that was interesting that you're bringing that up, because that's something we were talking about.
how funny.
I love the possibility I don't have to get myself to the wall before I do something.
Yeah, and it's amazing how, you know, I'm like, sometimes you see something, because what it's not a pattern I've run in a really long time. And before I went away, I was like, I'm trying to use fear as a motivator, and it's making me feel disgusting. Why am I doing that? And I was seeing it all over the place, you know, and it was like, and there's even someone I know who's pretty wealthy, you know, has done very well for themselves, and I was like, oh, they run that pattern. That's really interesting. So they have to lose money and make it difficult to motivate themselves to make money, which I was like, wow, fascinating.
I can relate.
Yeah, so I've done a little, but I think I don't think that we'll do that tonight. I think we'll have that one. Is that all right? Because I actually think I'll put in the group that's what we're going to do and see who wants to come. And I think it might be really useful for Amber, so it'd be better to do it when Amber's fully present as well, if Amber's in agreement with that. So
I decided I've had enough of being low energy, because how can I be surrounded by so much and then be feeling low energy? So I decided that was enough of that.
Oh, Amber, I'm so glad.
Good job, Karen.
So like, isn't that silly? Like, look at it. I'm literally surrounded by so much energy and all good stuff. And like, it's just a choice to be low energy. Flip that.
Yeah.
but it's odd, isn't it, how sometimes I think, I know we're looking from the inside out, but sometimes these external forces start to disrupt our field. And if we don't just take time to recalibrate, that's where it is nice to just this together. It doesn't actually really matter what we do. It's just really nice to be with beautiful people who aren't draining our energies.
Exactly. So, and part of it really is that, I mean, nobody made me stay up. So if I stayed up, I know what I need to do to fix it. And I was telling Matthew that I'm missing Roman because I don't know if I told you guys, but I started to get back into the celery juice thing that I did like a while back before we went to Costa Rica. And he's been the last few times, the last 3 or 4 times he made it, and now he's with Matthew. So, and I was on call, so I didn't have a chance to make it. So I was like, I think I need to figure out a way to get my stuff sorted out so I can at least make myself some celery juice, because I do think it actually helps, but I don't know. So that's it, Matthew. You're done with having Roman. Send him back. I need my celery juicer.
You're on
And
mute.
you're muted, so no, none of that counts.
We can't hear you. Can I unmute him?
Oh
Yeah.
no, I got it. Yeah, Amber, you should have come with me. It's much nicer here.
If you're on
Yes,
bed
but
with
you
the
know
island,
exactly why I'm here. I got settled with an extra cat. My mom was being a cat herself because she was going around all in loops. So I don't know.
Where are
I
you at?
Prince Edward
Matthew
Island.
I figured you
East-
don't need a field trip there. So,
Yeah,
probably
it's beautiful here. The main windows in the living room and dining room face the sunset. So as long as there's not too much clouds, I get a sunset. I get to eat supper and watch the sunset every day. So we're 5 minutes from the ocean here.
Matt,
So
point your phone up and show them our ceiling. I love that ceiling.
boy, this is the master bedroom here.
Yeah.
It's me. You don't want to look at me. I don't flip this thing around.
You're going to keep tapping it, just point it up. Because I know it's going to take you 15 minutes to
Oh,
find
there we go. There,
oh my
there it
God,
is.
gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
it. It's lovely. I kind of fell in love with that place.
Let's see why. The whole thing.
Master
Wow.
bedroom.
So what are you
Yeah.
doing there, Matt?
I am doing house repairs so that we can the house needs to have some repairs done to it. So that's what I'm doing here.
We had an
Um,
old tenant who just left it in shambles, so we are fixing it.
so there's a bathroom to get done and a whole bunch of yard work. My son's out doing weed whacking right now.
Give him my best, please.
Oh yeah, will do so.
Can we, Emma, based on everything, do you think doing that exercise today would work, or do you think you want to do it another time?
Would you like to do it, guys?
I would.
You can take it for a test run today and then put it out in the group and we'll do it again.
Yes. Yeah.
It's nothing super exciting or it was just to really have the inquiry.
That works.
And I've just got a little bit of flow on it.
It's up to you totally, whatever you
No,
feel.
I'm happy if everyone's up for it. It's like, it's literally to, you know, to actually ask ourselves, well, where are we using fear to motivate ourselves to do something?
Hidden fear. Hidden fear. That's my thing. I discovered that I was like, I'm not afraid of anything. What do you mean? And I'm like, oh, that's so not true.
Or where, in my case, where am I not using fear, some form of fear to motivate myself?
Yeah. I think that's pretty, what you said, Cece, is kind of where I am.
Yeah.
How do you know you're running that pattern?
Kind of for me, it's I keep on trying to get to places which at least look better. So I'm trying to get away from a place I don't want to be. I guess you could call it either dislike or fear, but are dislike and fear that much different? So
And for me, I'm running consequences.
Tell me more about that.
If I don't do that, or if I do that, I've got little, lots of noise going on. So therefore, I know that I'm doing things because of the consequences. Some of them are good, but a lot of them are not so good. They're away froms. They're, occasionally they're towards, but mainly they're away froms. And then my mind, of course, goes into hyperdrive spin, which it's very useful, good at, about all of that. And I used to, I don't do it so much anymore. I've got more tools. I'm saner, thanks to all the work with Emma and this group. But I used to literally lie in bed, it's been a couple of years, until I got so anxious, I'd get up. I'd lie in bed and run all the nasty stories and hyper and everything else until I'd finally get up. And I don't do that anymore, but that doesn't mean my mind isn't going there. It's got some I would like to, it's got some ruts that I would like to fill in and not go down anymore. So.
How extreme, because I always think that's where to calibrate it. How extreme does it need to get? So what, Donald Trump, actually, I studied, I think it was him, at business school, where he is somebody that actually seems to be, or used to be at least, motivated as an away from. So he'd make a lot of money and then he'd lose it. And then he'd make a lot of money and he'd lose it. I mean, that's a typical kind of pattern that you see with people, is when they've actually made money out of scarcity. So they just carry on running that pattern all the time. And different people need to get to different extremes. So, some people, it's like, well, you don't have to, you only have to be half a notch going in that away from space to motivate out of it. Whereas other people seem to need to absolutely hit the wall and be at rock bottom in order. So I'm just going to invite you, just for your own personal self, to actually, and I try and get specific on this. So at the minute, Emma, you're talking quite generally, oh, generally I do this. But if you were specifically to look at, I know you were like, well, where don't I do it? But I'd actually invite you to look specifically where it is you do it, to see what the scenarios are, or the big ones. What are the big players that?
Mhm. My big players are finances, health. I don't go quite as down. I don't hit quite such a bottom on health. But friends, community, connections, happy life, which I have not been claiming. Those are the big. Self-care. Those are kind of the big ones off the top of my head right now.
Yeah. Pick one. Which one is the one where you really, it's almost like you have to make it, it has to become really bad in order for you to take action?
I would say, I mean, and I don't know what's finances and what's business here, because of course business brings finances, but I would say that one, that's the one that I keep saying, I don't have to hit bottom. I don't have to hit bottom. And here I am at bottom. Yeah.
So you're focusing on hitting bottom.
No, I mean, I've hit it and I'm focused on getting out of it, but I was running the fear of hitting bottom. I was running the fear of I would continue this pattern and hit bottom.
Yeah.
And I did. And I try to motivate myself. I motivate myself, because my income is geared to my business. I use that as I had been using that. I probably still do, for causing me to, and I do want the business. I do want the connection, but but that's, it's all kind of convoluted. But anything we do.
Does it feel the same as other? Because I've got a feeling that it's a different fear to some of the others. So I'm intrigued on that. So although we might run the general pattern, I suspect it's anchored in something different. Or maybe not. I don't know. What do you guys see in that?
Love to know what else it's anchored in.
Anyone else got something they'd like to share or that they're seeing?
Please.
Actually, I'll be quiet so you can go. I jump in, usually. You go.
Yeah, if you have something to say, say. I'm not really. I don't have anything to add right now.
Okay.
Now, this could be totally my imagination and hallucination, but when we start feeling overwhelmed, sometimes it's not so easy to see what really might be behind things or the separation between things, right? And if you're thinking finances, CC, then definitely, because that's so tied to our basic survival, it does tend to take over, right? So I'm just curious. As to how much, because making money isn't just tied to one thing, right? There are 15 different ways of making money. Some of them we like, some of them we don't like, but we could always make money from any of those things. So I'm just curious as to what seems true for you when you look at it, and if there's a way to just look at it, acknowledging all the stuff that's pushing at you, but just kind of parking it on the side and putting a pin in it. So So maybe something comes up, because what I'm feeling is a lot of overwhelm.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that in you? You're feeling overwhelmed in yourself, or you're feeling that from, yeah.
And see, you recognize things in other people that you're battling yourself too, right? So this is where I'm like, I know what it's like to juggle up bazillion things, and a lot of, like, what I'm finding funny in it for myself is that how many of those are of my own making. And I'm trying to I'm trying to be aware of how much I've thrown in it and what it's tied to. Like, I remember one time I was like, oh, I want to make this much money and blah. And this is like a few years back. And it was like, I had this figure in mind, right? And then it was almost like, oh, and then it would be sort of like, there was at least a couple of people who came to mind who I was like, oh, and then it it would, not that it would show them, but it would be, they could witness, right, that it was done. And I was like, why the fuck do I care whether they witness or they don't witness? It's my money. It's my accomplishment. I don't really care to get validated from them, but it was just really curious that it was almost to show them too that it was done. As if, and I was like, do I care? Like, do I think that they think I can't do it? Like, it was almost like the validation from them. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's a pressure I'm putting on myself. I want to validate it to myself, not to anybody else. But it was really interesting that those, couple of people came to mind that, oh, and then they were blah, whatever. I'm like, what?
So I'm
So
curious, can I ask, were you using that external, what looked like external validation as a motivator? And what was the fear that sat underneath that, if you were?
I don't know if I was initially even aware that they were in the play. Right. And it was when I saw it that I was like, oh, maybe subconsciously I was, but consciously I was not aware that they were in the play.
But as you became consciously aware of some of that subtle stuff, that comes from a fear, doesn't it? It's a tricky little devil, that.
It was really,
What you see and what the origin of that fear is underneath that.
I was just feeling, so there was this perception, like almost a pressure, where it was like, okay, so I'm not just, it's going to sound so odd, but it was this perception that, oh, you're so smart and you can do so many things. So if you can do all that and you're all that, then why is it not reflecting here and show us? Like, you know what I mean? It was almost like a pressure to prove,
Yeah.
almost. And it was, I don't know if it certainly didn't show up as fear, but maybe the fear was that, what if they're right? You know? I don't know. I'm still kind of playing with that because
Yeah.
it wasn't so apparent. Like, it almost seemed like I had to prove it. Right? And but I still don't have it fully played out and figured out. But there's always been a lot of pressure that, okay, like I remember my dad, I don't even know if I was 4 yet, very young. And my dad, he used to smoke. And I went into the drawing room, the living room, and he was sitting with a friend of his, and picked up his cigarette case and he said to me, read it. And I read it just because I was really like, I think I was reading, oh gosh, I don't even, I think I might have been closer to 3 than 4. And I was reading really young. So he got me to read it and I just read it just because it was easy. But my dad was showing his friend that I could. You see what I mean? So it's always kind of been there that, like, I joke about it that I'm the trick pony or the show monkey or whatever, but it's that pressure to just kind of always show up.
Mm.
Now, I don't know if there's a fear tied to it.
There's something.
Fear's a funny one, so I kind of use it in a little bit of a generic way. But I think there's 2 things. Is I think all these threads can lead back to fear. Because often it's actually, it can even link into fear of not being good enough. Like when we're improving energy, it's because we're worried we're at some level that we're not enough.
Right.
And so we've got to prove that we are. What I also want to point out, though, is that all fear is rooted in love. All fear is rooted in love, because if you did not love yourself, you just wouldn't give a shit.
That's true.
And suddenly you can actually start to see how much you love yourself, because you care that deeply that you have that fear. And most of the time we think that it's that we don't love ourselves, but it's the opposite.
Mm.
Got to love ourselves because somebody threatens our life and we come up fighting rather strong. So
Exactly. If you didn't love yourself and the tiger's gonna maul you, you just go, okay, tiger, eat me.
Mm. There's something.
And actually, I believe, if this isn't too sensitive to say, but I think most people who commit suicide because they love themselves so much that they want something more that they don't see that's possible in the moment. It's actually an act of love rather than, but it just doesn't look like that from this. There's nothing that when I've really sat with it that I can't find that isn't rooted in love. It might be, sometimes it's love of ourselves, sometimes it's love of others, but it's like sometimes it's love of the planet, whatever it is. And it's like, if we can find that underneath it all, it does shift things. But I've kind of gone off topic a little. Well, maybe not, but it just.
What's coming up for me with all of this is great exploration is there's proving. I am running proving so strongly because it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to prove to myself I'm lovable as well as to the world. And I think part of the fear is that I will not live up to my potential. I won't do what I was created to do. All of that for, for my sake, for other people's sake, for the world's sake, whatever. Oh, it's a pretty strong fear. Yeah. And I don't have a sense it's out of loving myself. I don't have that sense of it because I think I'm I think I'm still needing to earn being lovable at some level. There's something in there. I don't know what, whatever it is like. Anyway, interesting.
I always think there's a little, so you wanting to show up and be in service, though, is that not about loving others?
Oh yeah, it's about loving others.
So that might be the good place to start to touch the love, you know, to feel that fear of not showing up in your purpose and see that there is love behind that, because there's a love of others, and maybe that'll be more accessible to start with.
Yeah, the love of others for that is accessible. The fear is I won't qualify. The fear, I mean, and it comes with the fear, additional fear of being able to serve them in a way. If that makes any sense. I'm not sure any of this makes sense. Hey, it's great.
I mean, we've gone slightly away from what, so I'm going to just pull it back, because what we were talking about was fear as a motivator, rather than necessarily, and it's interesting what's coming up, but let's just pull it back though to how much, when is that showing up as what you need to motivate yourself in order to take action?
Can I say one thing before we go back? To CC, love, this is what kind of came up. Somebody once told me, in terms of self-care and so on, that you can't give to others what you don't have.
Right.
But I wonder if that applies to love also.
If it applies to what?
Love also, because you say there's love for others, but you couldn't love somebody else if you don't have love in you or you, because how would it translate to others, right? I don't know, just a thought that came up. Don't have to have an answer, it was just curious. I'm like, they say how you do one thing is how you do everything. Well, if it applies to energy and self-care and whatnot, then maybe it applies to love too.
So what I heard in that, or got remembered in that, was that one of the things I love about NLP is the saying of it, that you can only see what is you.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why I love this group, because I'm like, look at me, there's all parts.
Oh, yeah, me too. And thank you for that reminder. It's like, oh, I must have that too. Thank you.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly. So, and I always think about that, so you see how much you're just like, whenever I meet with you, you're like, oh my God, I met this amazing person and they were this, that, and the other. And then I saw this person, they were diddly. And I'm thinking, look at all that amazingness that CC can see. And you wouldn't be able to see that if it wasn't you. You know, it's like, I've pointed some people at Sid Banks. It's just gone, Emma, I listened to that and I haven't got a clue what he was saying. And I'm going, oh, well, you don't worry about that. Just listen for a feeling. And they're just like, they're just like, I could not make a head nor tail of any of it. It just went, you know? And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I know that everyone in this room can listen to Sid.
Oh, yeah.
And whether you hear or feel something right then, as long as you keep it kind of inside and around you, 2 days later it might trigger for you.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. I hear something new that I'm like, I've listened to this before. How did I not? Like, what? Where was this?
Yeah, it always feels like the first time, and I love it. I love it. I love, like, I know I listened to this last week and the week before, and
Something
And
new.
yeah.
thank you for the diversion around my stuff, but please take back the group wherever you want us to go.
So I'm gonna what let's ask us what is it? What is it that I'm trying to protect? So this is for self-inquiry. What is it I'm trying to protect
Mm.
by running this fear? And you may not have an answer to that. It's just,
A deep answer? No, like, what am I trying to protect by trying to get away?
or even using the pattern of fear as the motivator.
Mm.
Because everything's always got a positive intention.
Yeah.
Whether we see that or not, we can think that's a ridiculous saying. And I've never seen it not to be true.
Mm.
I'm kind of running in my head with, so if we were trying to put it to words and give it a description, what is the opposite of fear? Like, I'm trying to think of that in my head. What is the opposite of fear? And I haven't been able to put it together. What is it? Does it have a word? Is peace the opposite of fear? Like, because if I think I'm thinking in my head, if I can't come up with a description for it, then I'm not going to be able to see it, even if it is right there. And then I'll just keep on using the fear thing because it's the one thing that I have a really good description for immediately in my head.
Mm.
For me, the opposite of fear is love or faith, but love. I don't know. That's just what came up. I can't make, like, I
Yeah.
don't have a sensible answer to why, but that's what came up immediately.
My Western mindset training says that fear leads to hatred, and to me, hatred is the opposite of love. But yeah,
Tomorrow, maybe.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
Is fear a I'm wondering if fear is about separation and the opposite of fear is knowing at a deep level of the oneness, of the unity, of the connections. There's something good from what Matt said. There's something about that showed up.
I like that.
Yeah, because if there's unity and oneness and connection, fear doesn't need to be there.
I'd actually even say, can it even exist?
I don't think it can, because I think it's all about separation. Or it's about not qualifying for the oneness. It's separation, 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 separation every time.
And taking that a step further, could it be that it's about belief in the separation?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's the belief, because separation isn't actually a fact. It's the belief in it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Good insight, Cece.
This was a group thing.
I know. It was a wonderful question from Matt. I just love it.
And from you. I mean, all of this, and Amber, just all just a lovely pot that's producing flowers, whatever.
I was just acknowledging that last bit because that was cool.
Very cool. It feels different.
Of course, Matthew is stuck with me, so I cramp his style. Every time he wants to run away, I dig my heels in. And I'm like, yeah, but aren't we taking it with us wherever we go? It's just a change in scenery. And then he says, yes, but then it's a change in scenery. We don't have snow. And I'm like, okay, pointed.
Yeah, no snow is a good thing. But
yeah.
There's something about that.
But I do have a thing about not necessarily running to distance from something. Because I don't know, maybe just again something in my head, but I just think we're gonna find it's there too, because we are. So
Wondering. So is there a way, Emma, with what you were thinking about, because if we clear the belief in separation, then in a way, maybe the away from, and maybe even the towards behavior melts too. I don't know.
Interesting inquiry.
what came up
What?
is separation from what?
Name it.
No, I want you to name it.
Oh, from everything, it just depends on the moment. I mean, if I assume separation, if I run my belief in separation and I assume separation, then I am responding to that belief in separation, and I'm working to get away from or towards. If I don't believe in separation, then I'm not proving, I'm not defending, I'm not actually working to go away from or towards. I might be wanting to be closer to a certain group or something like that, which I guess would be a towards. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, I'm just exploring.
I think this is where so it's the feeling of it. So when we're like in, let's anchor it in, I have to act it out, but like when we're in that, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to pay the bills tomorrow, and this is due and that's due, and oh god, what am I gonna do? There's this build up of pressure. But equally, it's like, oh, there's a diamond over there, and I know it's on the other side of the mountain, and I'm gonna go and get that diamond, and we're all excited. We're still in this mental, emotional calibration. So we're using the mental, emotional to motivate us, whether it's actually away from or towards. And that was what
Yes.
the big thing I got out of Michael's I don't know whether it was Michael when I did the 3 principles originally, that was suddenly was like, oh, there's no good emotions and bad emotions. There's just emotions. And they help us navigate life. They help us know what we like and what we don't. But as you get more and more out of that separation, the video I put of the Shaolin monk going, well, don't, if you're going in this direction, don't disturb the water. Don't like something or dislike something. And I think what he's talking there is it this mental, emotional level, because there's something different in going, I'm committed to raising the consciousness of the planet. And I'm going to chart a course to do what I can for that. To, right, I'm going to raise the consciousness of the planet. And, you know, and I'm going to do this. And oh, this makes me feel really good. And this makes me feel, and you're in this mental, emotional construct of what is good and what is bad, rather than settling into that oneness and going, this is me, and this is what makes me feel alive.
Mm.
And then to me, discernment comes from that space rather than judgment, because everything else is judgment when we're in that mental, emotional. Whereas when we're, you know, and that's why I'm always like, settle into that pineal portal, find the space there of that expand, because that is the oneness, that expansiveness that is you, that connects you to everything. You know, that's what that's what I believe everyone's talking about. That's how I interpret that. And there aren't words for it. It's just, but it was when I've been working judgment forever, and I was trying not to judge. It's like, I look back, it's like really quite amusing. And yeah, and then I did a session with Genpo Roshi on Michael's mastermind, and everyone was like, you got so much out of it, and did you like his method? And I was going, his method had nothing to do with it. I just knew I was going to get an insight somewhere along the line, and the insight was, oh, when I'm in that space, it's discernment, not judgment. And then once I saw that, there was like that separation just kind of went collapsed in on itself.
I can feel the difference. Thank you.
Does anyone want to do a bit of a grounding exercise around that fear? Just see if we can.
Yes, let's do that.
Yes, please.
So I'm just going to put a light on. I'm getting darker and darker, like I'm talking in the ghost boudoir, which I probably am, but I I'm just going to point us back to, I really like using the peripheral vision and the breath work. So, because I can work it content free. So everyone's done this, haven't they? So what we do is we start in peripheral vision. And if you want, you can also tap on the thymus point once you're there, because that actually stimulates the vagus nerve. So it actually hits through the whole body. So it has a big somatic experience. And we're just making sure in parasympathetic functioning. But I'm also going to invite you up, when you're in that peripheral vision, is to allow yourself to also drop back into that pineal portal, into that. So we're going into what I call a more expansive awareness. And once we're there, I'm just going to ask you to actually breathe out the fear and look at it. So where do you hold it in your body, and then what's the visual, the audio, the feeling, and we're going to just breathe it out. And the thing is to just stay in that expanded place, and then whatever comes up. Now the key to this is your own awareness. So sometimes some people are really fast and some people are really slow. It doesn't matter what speed it's coming up. So I'll be doing it on an average cycle, but if something comes up, you can just breathe it out. You don't have to wait for my cues. But it could be, you could be going on, it reminds me of something. So you see a memory and you breathe that out. Or you might hear a little inner voice going, or you might have a thought. You might hear your mother saying something, or whatever it is. And then you're just releasing it on the breath. But the key to it is staying in expanded awareness. So I'll keep reminding you. But your awareness also needs to be of your physical body, because you might suddenly get a weird sensation in your knee. Your nose might feel itchy. You might suddenly notice you're wanting to blink more. And being aware of that. So say you get a tear running down your face, then you take a breath and you breathe out the tear. So you breathe out whatever physical sensations you're experiencing, because they're all part of the strategy in the somatic release. Okay? Does that all make sense? Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to change the view. I'm going to try and put me on the main thing just so that you guys didn't feel self-conscious on the video, but I don't know how to do it. Meeting settings. You won't worry about it. Right, okay. So I'm just going to invite you. Is everyone all right calibrating their peripheral vision? No? No, Amber? You want me to go through it?
I don't mean to make you go through all of it. I got interrupted, but I'll catch up. But when you say calibrating your peripheral vision, what do you mean?
So have you done peripheral vision before?
Kind of. But I know peripheral vision, so I'm assuming you want us to go higher up and then
pick a spot, yeah, slightly on the, pick a specific point, look at that, and then allow your vision to expand.
Right.
We're going to do it with eyes open today. And then if we need to do it again another day, we'll do it with eyes closed and see. Okay. So yeah, we'll just pick a spot and then allow the vision to come out. And then just start taking some nice deep breaths into the belly, just so we start to bring ourselves into parasympathetic functioning. Just allow the eyes to soften and settle. I'm just going to ask you just take a nice deep breath. And as you breathe out, just allow all the muscles to just relax off the bone. Just allow yourself to settle into this safe space. And then I just want you to start gently tapping on the thymus point. Just very easily, not far, just slowly. And just staying in expanded awareness. And just notice you can see both walls either side of you. And we're just going to set an intention that as we tap, that we're going to release attachment to our story and to the past, and release attachment to the future story, so that we may live fully in the present, right here, right now. And we're setting the intention that as we tap, the deep and profound healing can occur at every level of our being, easily and effortlessly. So we may be fully present in a place of deep inner peace and joy. And I just invite you to take a breath. And I just invite you to breathe out onto the opposite wall the fear that you were noticing today, or any of the patterns that we spoke about. Just really get in touch with the visual, the auditory, the feelings of that and how it shows up in your life. And I just want you to witness all of that without judgment, without criticism. And dropping a little deeper into the third eye awareness. What are you experiencing now? And remember, it may be a memory, it may be a thought, it may be a sensation or an emotion. And whatever it is, just take a breath. And having a sense of breathing that out. And just witness that without judgment, without criticism. And then just ask yourself what's happening now. And whatever that is, just take a breath. And have a sense of breathing that out. And just witness that without judgment, without criticism. And what are you experiencing now? Is there a physical sensation or a feeling? Maybe it's nothingness, whatever it is, just take a breath and just breathe that out. And just witness that without judgment, without criticism. And what are you sensing now? Just notice if there's a little bit of resistance in the body or in the mind. And just take a breath and have a sense of breathing that out. And just witness all of that without judgment, without criticism. And what's happening for you now? And just take a breath and just breathe all of that out. If there are thoughts, you can write them on the wall and just witness them without judgment, without criticism. And what's underneath that? And just take a breath, just stay in expanded awareness and have a sense of breathing that out without judgment, without criticism. And just staying in expanded awareness. Just allow yourself to just drop a little bit deeper into that third eye and the awareness. What's coming up from that space? What are you seeing, hearing, feeling, believing? And just take a breath. And just have a sense of breathing that out. And just witness it without judgment, without criticism. And just ask yourself what you're experiencing now. Stay in expanded awareness and take a breath. And just breathe that out without judgment. Just accept it. And what's happening for you now in your awareness? Just notice whatever was going on physically then. Take a breath. The need to change arms, the need to shift position, and just breathe that out. Just witness that without judgment. without criticism. And just take another breath. Notice where the weight in your body is, where the tension in the body is, and just breathe all of that out. And just witness that without judgment. And take a breath and just release whatever was in your neck. And just witness that without judgment. Staying expanded awareness. And if your elbows and arms feel heavy, just take a breath. And just breathe that out. And just witness it all. And we're just going to speak to the unconscious mind. And for the unconscious mind to know all the little pieces that are left. And to just notice there are balloons all over the wall. And I just want you to take a breath and allow your unconscious mind to fill up the balloons with all the thoughts, all the memories, all the past stuff. You don't need to know what it is, just be aware of it. Filling up all the balloons of whatever colour the balloons are that you choose. The colour of releasing and letting go. And just witness all of those balloons carrying all the stuff you no longer need. All attachment to fear. And all attachment to fear as a motivator, and all the strategies that you've been running for that pattern. Just take a deep breath and just release it all into those balloons. And then just cut the cords. Imagine a great big pair of scissors, and you're just going to cut all those cords and watch all the balloons. They're just going to float up right through the ceiling. And then staying in expanded awareness, just put your hand over your heart. And if there was a colour that would allow all fear to release out of your body and for love to fill its place, what would that colour be? And just imagine breathing that colour in through your hand, staying in expanded awareness, dropping a bit deeper into the third eye space. And just breathe in that beautiful colour. Let it fill your heart. And when I say your heart, I don't just mean your physical heart. There's your physical heart on the left, and there is your ethereal heart on the right, your angelic heart. And then there, right in the middle, in the 0 point, is your secret heart, your sacred heart. And as you breathe in that colour, I want you to bring wholeness, so that all those parts of you are fully integrated as one. And so as you breathe in, you're breathing into that one heart. And so there is no longer separation. It's more like that infinity loop and the infinite space of the heart. And just staying in expanded awareness, allow that colour to then start flowing, overflowing from the heart into the rest of the body. Allow it to overflow fully into the whole of the torso, into all the organs of the body. Allow it to flow down the legs, down your leg channels and into the earth. Down your arms and into your bud chakras and out into the universe. Through all the cells and tissues and fibers of your whole being. Signaling to your body to release all fear and to fill with love. And I'm talking of divine love of the highest order. Allow it to flow through your skin and actually seep out of your skin and into the auric layer all around you. Become aware of yourself in space. And become aware of the color flowing through you as you sit in space. And then allowing that color to fill the space until there's no separation between you and the space. And it's up to you how expansive you make that. And then I invite you to expand your color to flow through, flow around every other person in this beautiful room. And then just slowly become aware of yourself in the space again. Imagine just contracting your own aura. So that expansiveness you bring back all that vibration into this tight weave around you. So your aura is up to you how deep you want. The norm is about 18 inches. And just imagine just pulling that in and noticing that beautiful tight weave of all that beautiful energy. And just allow yourself to just feel your feet on the floor and allow the energy to flow up and down the legs and back down the grounding cord if you need, whatever. I'm just quite enjoying just being. But I get to sleep afterwards, so it's cool. I can be. Whew. I muted you all because I was getting a load of background stuff. So please feel free to unmute and while you're kind of still in that space, I'm just going to invite you. You don't have to answer these questions. I just wanted you to kind of answer them in your mind's eye. But what would it look like if I led by love, trust, and inspiration? Just see what visual or auditory or kinesthetic comes up for you, whatever your frame of reference is. What would it look like, sound like, feel like to be led by love, trust, and inspiration? If I didn't have to wait for fear to move me, what kind of person would I be? Would I become? And just from an expanded place, it's maybe to ask yourself, what's one daily practice to stay connected to inner wisdom that might occur to you to do? Okay, you're going to unmute and speak to me. I get bored of the sound of my own voice after a bit. Tell me how you're feeling, what you experience. Or what you didn't experience, you know, it's like we're...
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I quite like the sound of your voice, so you can continue.
God bless you, thank you.
It was a little interesting for me because probably because of the lack of sleep I'm in a spacey place anyway, but I kept coming, like I was there, I was following you, and yet it seemed like I was coming back when your voice was there too. So I don't know where I was from time to time, but it wasn't necessarily that any feelings or emotions were coming up, but I did release something from my neck. And there was something around my shoulder after that that I became aware of, so I released that. But there were like, I was like, there's got to be stuff that's fair for me to, you know, kind of any words, any thoughts, any feelings that are coming up. And I don't know if necessarily there was. It was just a nice, deep, reflective place. That's pretty much what it felt like. I actually would have liked something to come up.
Sometimes think, you know, like when we're really tired, you look like you were. You don't have to unmute it, just unmute and just stay unmuted. Because it's not like we're 1,000 people in the room and we're gonna, you know. I only muted it so that to make sure everyone could hear because it was getting a bit of feedback. I think what I noticed was is that you look like you were falling asleep and coming in and out, and so. But who knows, you know, at some level, the unconscious mind's listening in. So I don't always believe that we need to be consciously aware. I think we need to be consciously aware for insights. But maybe you'd already had the insight, and so then we're just releasing the strategy. It'll be interesting to see how it. But if you know, this is a really useful practice that if you do get really into your awareness, it's incredible what you can, because, you know, like most practices take away the layers. This doesn't, it does that. So it doesn't peel away the layers. It drops you down through the strategy to the core. But sometimes I know I'm quite good at relaxing people. So sometimes people go, oh, I just feel so much better anyway, that they're then focusing on the good feelings. So sometimes then I have to poke the bear to to help find what's underneath. So I need to probably find a better way of poking the bear in groups. What about you, Cece and Matt? Did you have thought patterns and stuff coming up, or?
I was kind of, oh, sorry, go see.
After you.
Okay. So I've been having trouble with the falling asleep thing during these things. So I put myself in a different chair today. So every time that started to happen, I didn't have any support like I normally do. So it would jerk me too. But I kept on kind of, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it, just seeing things, but I don't really remember what I saw. And it was just kind of during those times of kind of in the middle there. So maybe my subconscious will see something, I don't know.
And did you breathe out what it was that ever came up? So as you saw it, did you breathe it out and witness it?
I was trying to do that, yeah.
No, good.
Didn't do it every time, but
no, but good.
Yeah, I tried.
I'm interested. Were you keeping your eyes open and then falling asleep?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're even falling asleep with your eyes open, relaxed, cool.
Yeah. Well, it's nice and relaxing, and
yeah.
Trying to. I kind of want to be in. I think is it delta that they call it, where you're not really asleep, but you're kind of there.
That's
That's
theater.
Is that theta? Okay, well, that's
You
kind of what
are.
I'm trying to aim for. And so, anyway, I was
It's
kind of bouncing back and forth today.
at one point I actually could stay in that and be consciously aware, but it was a lot of meditation practice to actually not fall. And then last year I did loads, and I was just like, I was falling asleep like you, just nodding off and then coming back, and I've not managed to fully. Sometimes I'm there, but I can't get it consistently. It's pretty hard to just be in that space and be fully conscious. It's a fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to be there when you get there.
Yeah. But I used to be really quite good at it as a child, but I was really into lucid dreaming, and that's almost what. So I had totally conscious dreams where I was active and conscious in the dream. It was actually how I learned to release fear. It was one of my releasing fear was one of my big soul things. And I used to have this terrifying dream, and it was one of these recurring dreams, and it was like, and it used to scare the life out of me. I was only little, and then I think, and it must have gone on 2 or 3 years. It was a really, and then it occurred to me one day. I thought, well, I always get so terrified that I fight to wake myself up, and I thought, I wonder if I just followed the dream and see what happened, what would happen. And it was just like, and so I did that. And then I was like, oh, I can actually enjoy this dream. And then I got into really controlling my dreams then and being able to, but it completely released the fear. It was just, and actually I never had that dream again once I'd followed it. And I say that I actively went into it, but I never had it as a surprise ever again. So it's fascinating, isn't it? But I think we're more open as kids, aren't we, to stuff probably.
So you've kind of been in that dream thing where you. So I've been in the dream thing where a part of me is really awake in the dream and it wants to get out, but you can't wake yourself up.
Yeah.
I've been before. I thought that was just a me thing being.
No, and I actually have also woken up and had full body paralysis.
Oh,
so I had that a lot. And I could tell the time on the clock and stuff like that, and yet, but I couldn't move. And that used to really scare me. And that took a long time. So eventually I was just like, because I would be fighting it, being like, oh my God, I've got to wake up, and I'm fighting. And then I realized, well, what if I just got curious about it and I didn't fight it, because most and this comes actually back to what you were saying about separation, CC. It's because often we feel the fear and we fight it, rather than just going, oh, okay. That's what I feel the 3 principles did for me, actually, out of everything. It really made me see that. And I think I kind of figured that pattern out over the years, when I look at those childhood things. And I was always really, really good in a crisis because I wasn't scared. I'd be like, oh, what's the opportunity here? We've got to stepping into new whatever. but the three principles also really help you see that, oh, what if I'm just not afraid of the experience? And that could be grief hitting rock bottom, it could be whatever. It's just like, just to not be afraid of it. Which is a little bit like what we're doing in that process, isn't it? We're just going, oh, let's just look at it. That's what, like, just looking at it, so it's when you go, but without judgment. It's that kind of little reminder all the time. Just look at it without judgment and without criticism, so that you're just presently aware to it, rather than going, oh my God, I was such a bitch in that situation. And oh my God, I feel so ashamed that I did that or said that or wasn't the perfect, it kind of strips all that out, and it just shows us the layers that we're going through. What's the pattern? No. But we can do it again another time if you wish.
It was amazing. And I was grateful that you did some, like, whatever, even if you're not conscious of it, releasing it. I wish I was conscious of. Some things came up. My whole head got tight. All back here, like a pressure headache. Just went. So I definitely, I did my stomach clench and things. So I definitely had some physical sensations to like breathe through. And I don't know, not sure what language, what the agenda, but I certainly.
Has that head, is that okay now?
It's still a little bit tight.
Okay. Just do a little bit of a round of EFT tapping, because sometimes I've found, to be honest, Cece, actually, just so the people that have had the biggest releases with me have often, that there's been that. It doesn't happen often, but when it has, it's actually been quite a big, because they're having probably a big brain detox with it. They're clearing something out and it's shifting. So I just invite you to just, tap now, and we'll just go on all this tension. If anyone else wants to join in, there's always benefit. We call borrowing benefit.
Yeah.
Side of the eye, all this tension in my head.
Tension in my head.
Under the eye, all this tension in my head.
Okay.
Under the nose, all this tension in my head. Chin, all this tension in my head. Collarbone, all this tension in my head. This is on the bra strap, Matt. You'll have to use your imagination, my love. All this tension in my head. Top of the head, all this tension in my head. Just take a deep breath. And imagine just blowing all that tension down the grounding cord into the center of the earth. Where's it at now?
It's lighter. There's still some, but it's lighter. It kind of moved down.
Okay, so yeah, still got some tension in my head. It's moving down and it's lighter. I've still got some tension in my head, even though it's moving down and it's lighter. Yeah, I've still got some tension in my head, even though it's moving down and it's getting lighter.
Tension in my head, even though it's moving down.
Any tension I'm holding in my whole body, that if I relaxed it, maybe my head would feel okay. Just releasing any tension in my whole body, if I relaxed it. Any tension in my mental, emotional, that just needs to be relaxed away. Any tension in the mental, emotional. It just needs to be relaxed away. Just take another breath. You all right?
I'm okay. I still have the tension area. But, so,
Maybe go and have some water, Cece. That might, you know, go and make sure you have a full glass of water and
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will use that again for sure. Balance. Definitely the muscles, but I'll talk to them, let them release. Thank you. Yeah, it was and when you said about what would it be like to show up led by
love, trust,
love,
and inspiration.
love, trust, and inspiration. It's like, oh my God, that's what would it be like? It would be who I want to be. That's that's.
Can you imagine it?
I did.
So you already are that. Because if it's in imagination, then it's in creation. And if it's in creation, then it's in being. So the very fact that you can imagine.
Yeah. And then it came up again, something else you were talking about, imagine something. Oh, what if I, another one about trust or accept all this, or release all this. It came up again. So yeah.
I can't remember what else I put a couple of notes. So.
Recording, so we're good. Yeah. That was.
Makes me think of an adventure. Like I remember when we were when I was a kid, we would you had two choices. You could do nothing or you could do something, and you weren't really doing either one of them out of fear or anything. You just go and you're kids, you can't just do nothing. So away you go and you have an adventure just for the sake of having an adventure. Like, and well, where I grew up, like there's just miles and miles and hundreds of miles of forest behind you. So you just go. No plan, no nothing. You just go and see what happens.
Does that feel more accessible to you now, Matt? That way of being?
The thought is there now. Like, right when CC was talking, that's when the thought came to me. Yeah, that was
nice.
Before, though, it wasn't even there. So yeah, it's much more accessible.
Well, thank you for that, Matt. That helped me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All of this. Oof.
I know, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
What was interesting for me, Emma, is that you said that it looked like I was falling asleep, and maybe I was, and generally I know when I've nodded off, right? Today I felt like I was present, just spacing, right? And not spacing even, but in pockets of somewhere. But still very present to what you were asking. And the curiosity was there a few times for me going, I wonder why, just there's this stillness, right? But that I think also ties into maybe a story or a limiting belief in my head, because I've done meditations where you kind of, are in that expanded awareness, however somebody phrases it, like you have your way of phrasing it and the peripheral and so on. But generally in meditation where it's like, okay, you are in this space, right? And you're receiving messages or you're asking questions and receiving answers. I always feel like I'm getting nothing. I know I'm getting something, but it just feels to me like, oh, I wonder if, I'm going to be aware of what, because sometimes people say, oh, I got this whole set of instructions. And I'm like, well, that would be nice. Could you share something? But it was.
Amber, I'm going to stop. Do you, when I'm asking those questions, actually that's the thought that you need to put out?
Well, I am putting it out.
You
but
are.
yeah, so, but I'm just not.
When it comes up as, oh, am I going to get anything? Are you then breathing that out and witnessing that thought without judgment, without criticism?
It didn't come up today. I
Right.
was just, yeah, it's just in general when sometimes I'm meditating and, you know, there was this one meditation. It was like, okay, you ask these questions or you are there just there to
Right.
receive messages. And I was just like, okay, maybe subconsciously I did, but I'm not aware of what I received. So, and even when we do the journey, Emma, sometimes, you know, I don't know what's the gift I'm being given, right? So there was always this thing that I just feel like, okay, I got something, but I don't know necessarily. Like there isn't this super clarity around what it is that I get as messages or answers or whatever at that time. And it bugs me that why don't I just get it clear? Like sometimes I hear people say, I got this, and I'm like, okay,
Do you get
what
do you get a feeling?
I always come satisfied, right? But there's also the curiosity, what is it you, and right now is not I think there are a couple of times in a journey that I might have felt that I got something, but yeah, I think I get the feeling that even if I don't know, I got something. But it just bugs me that I don't know what I got.
Maybe we'll have to do an exploration on that sometime, because everybody has a different primary frame of reference, and sometimes it's an inner knowing, sometimes it's it's the kinesthetic, sometimes it's the auditory, and it just might be that you've got an expectation of what you think it should be like. And because it doesn't, that's normally like, I had the same with kind of clairvoyance. So I thought, oh, to be clairvoyant, it's got to be this. And it's kind of quite different. But once I'd let go of it, it was actually my old Reiki master that he just went, oh, that's just your ego. And really, I felt really put down, actually. I was like, oh, but what it did was it made me stop focusing on it. And actually, because I wasn't focusing on it, I released expectation. And it was a bit like the old monk story of walking through walls, where I was just chatting to somebody one day and I was going, oh, well, when I Reiki'd you, I said there was something weird. I think I told you this story before, where it's like, oh, and I went down your spine and there was these two little lumps. And she went, oh, that's my kidneys. They're attached together. And I could see that. And then I was suddenly like, oh, how long have I been seeing?
Oh.
Because then I was like, oh yeah, because I could see that, I could see that, I could see that. But while I was trying to do it, it wouldn't come. And there is a big thing about, that's why I was going about releasing attachment to outcomes. It's about releasing expectation, allows other things to flow through. But there are other ways of exploring it. And it might be there's more than you've realized, because you're just expecting it to be something else.
I appreciate that, because even today when you were saying a color, there's always the question in my mind, did I make that color up, or was that like, because my tendency to control things, right? And it's like, did I make that just because I wanted to, or was it that real? And then power animals, same thing, because I'm like, did I just choose that power animal because that's the one I wanted, or what did it actually just come to me, guys? So just silly stories, right, that just run around in your head. And then I'm like, was I trying to control it? I don't know. But
So just as a future thing, if we did this exercise again, so when you're having the hand on the heart doing the colour, if stuff comes up, so if you were working one-on-one with me, I'd be like, oh, what's that thought? Because I'd know. And then if you went, oh, well, I'm wondering, whatever, I'd get you to start retapping. Take a breath and breathe out that thought. So
it come up afterwards. It didn't come up then. It's come up afterwards.
Right.
That did I make that color up, or was
Right.
that the color? Right.
So,
Yeah.
but that might be worthwhile actually exploring in that, in this exercise. So you could replay this recording, and rather than doing fear, go, right, I'm going to put out that doubting, that questioning piece where I'm not trusting myself.
Yeah. I think it comes from, like, those especially really bugged me, that why, like, if it's X number of answers that I put out that I'm looking for or whatever, or X number of messages that I'm supposed to receive, then, but you've got a good point. Maybe I've got it wrapped in an expectation of what that's supposed to look like. Even though I was thinking I'm open to anything, just whether it's auditory or colors or feelings or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But this was so fun. Like, it really was. I appreciated that floaty, spacey space, and then releasing whatever it was, even if I wasn't consciously aware of it sometimes. And sometimes that I was, just like I said, that
Absolutely.
my neck, and so, but it was really, really cool. And I really loved how you shaped it to be. Like, it was really cool. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
See, the beta was awesome.
Sorry?
The beta was awesome. The test drive rocked.
Oh, there's an inquiry thingy.
Amazing, yeah. And I do like the idea of maybe sometime on the how to be more open to receiving in ways that we're not expecting, so we can see it more in a different way, maybe. If we have expectations about what it's supposed to look like or feel like or whatever, maybe there's a way to clear some of that.
Are you alluding to what Amber was just saying, or? Yeah, but you could use this. You could use the process that we've just done to release expectation.
Absolutely, use the process for everything. Yeah.
I also like what you said about releasing just, that whole doubt thing.
Yes. Anything else left in there? Out.
Yeah.
I always love that.
And it's being careful that you're not banishing it. It's not I'm.
Oh, well, yeah, I was definitely doing that. I guess I will listen again.
Because actually that creates this in the body.
That does.
So that the whole point is to be in this very settled space and just gently releasing it and witnessing it. Yeah, but you're not, you're just breathing it out on the breath, just easily and effortlessly. It's not meant to have any effort to it, really. It's just about awareness. Breathe out, look at it. So you've got a disassociation pattern going on.
Yeah.
Letting go rather than forcing away.
Sorry?
Letting go rather than forcing away.
Yeah. It's just becoming you're disassociating from it, essentially, by just witnessing it. And because you're doing it without judgment or criticism, what I noticed on this was So with NLP, you run eye patterns to map to strategies, and often it's just the strategy that we've developed has become incongruent to our way of being. But we did it in the first place as a protection mechanism. It was to keep us safe, or that there's benefit behind it. But because we learn so quickly as human beings, the inner repatterning seems to reset the strategy, so it stops people looping the same.
That would be nice, yeah. Because and this is amazing and wonderful, but I'm like, well, if I don't see it clearly, can I release it? Because I'm not seeing it, I'm thinking, well, it's supposed to float out. What the hell is it? To a certain extent. And I just kept like, okay, I don't care if I can see it. I don't care if I've got clarity.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But I was also.
Don't need to remember any of it.
Or even be conscious in the moment, I guess. So, yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't know, because normally when I work one-on-one with somebody, they are fully, I'm them into awareness of whatever. And there is something to be said for that. But if you're aware of, oh, there's a memory, or there's a visual, or there's just something, these little pieces that are coming out, oh yeah, now my knee's sore, oh that, no, you're going to get some response because you're still going through the body's strategies. Because that's the interesting bit for me, is I know if somebody, all they're doing is putting out memories, they're not in this expansion, because they're just stuck on a memory loop and they're avoiding dropping through. They'll be resisting something. And that's but I don't think any of you've got that resistance. So you don't really resent, because you're open to exploration, So
It's not a resistance for me. It's not a resistance. It's more of a remembering to be in the moment so that I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
Just remembering to be there. Or being there. However, I'm not sure exactly how I want to say it, so it makes sense. But I've got it in my head what I'm trying to think.
Do you mean is that in everyday life, or is that in this process that you're talking about?
Even inside the process, sometimes the monkey mind drifts you a little bit. Right? So,
but that's okay if you're aware of it. So if your monkey mind drifts, is breathe out the awareness of that.
Yeah.
It's acknowledging that that's actually just all part of the pattern. Whatever happens. So if something comes in, I always remember years ago we were doing some work on something in a group I used to run, and one of the girls was like, and I went, "How was that for you?" And she went, "Well, I'm really annoyed," she said, because she said, as a separate thing, said, I'm trying to give up smoking. And she said, every time we were doing this process, this cigarette kept coming and dancing in front of me. And I went, well, did you not think to maybe just breathe the cigarette out and witness it without? And she went, oh no, I just thought it was being annoying, because that wasn't what we were doing. And so I always use that. I just think it's a brilliant example of, so she's just batting it away and then it's coming back. And so in the process, if you get distracted, perfect. Breathe out the distraction. It's not about you're trying to control. You're trying to stay. The reason you're out here is you're creating a safe space to work, because you can't get into trauma here. Yeah, so we anchor that safety place first so that you're not deep in traumas. But if you were breathing out, I can't see very well, everyone's quite small on the iPad. If you were breathing out heavily, then that can create tension in the head. well, because you're not, yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciated also you kept bringing to mind that release it without judgment or criticism. And that was really good because then there was no, for me at least, there was no attachment to anything. It was just like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things on the process. It's like that, because sometimes it's from my point of view, you think, oh, it sounds a bit boring, you're just repeating it. But it's almost like the brain needs that constant reminder, you know. Yep. And it's the one thing that amuses me, because obviously you can work with this completely content free. The number of people I've sat with where, and obviously I'm not interested, I just want them to get it out of the system fast enough. I don't want them dropping into the story. But people often presume that you know exactly what they've put out there. And they'll be like, and it's almost like because they're witnessing it almost like a movie, they think you can see it as well. It's really a fascinating thing from that point of view, where people go, oh yeah, but you know, da 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 da. And I'm thinking, no, I don't. I love it.
You have a very calm, soothing way of just keeping things going. Even if you're repeating it, to me, it wasn't repeating it. It was just every time that accompaniment to the release, right? So that there was no attachment. And I was thinking, if you're not judging, then you're not pushing anything anyways, because there's no judgment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very key to it, really. It's a bit like the nothing to prove, nothing to defend piece, isn't it? You just like releasing yeah. Anyway, I've seen the time. I am going to, and my battery won't last.
Oh my goodness. We've been here for a while.
We have, but it's been lovely, as always.
Huge.
Well, get to bed, my love. Your bed is calling you at this point.
I know, the dog's fast asleep. I brought his bed and he's absolutely out of it. He looks so cute. He's so cute, Robin. Do you want to see? I don't know if you'll be able to see him.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, look at that.
You see him?
You know, that's what I want. I watched the cat sleep the other day and I was thinking, I want to sleep like that. There's just so much trust in that. Just the way Robin is just like, it's all good. I'm safe. I'm sleeping. I'm loved.
He loved his holiday. The only problem was when we got back, he took 45 minutes to get out of the car.
But what I thought was so fascinating about this, because he loved the water, the ocean.
Yeah, he loved the beach, and he was upset that I'd not taken him back to the beach.
I wouldn't have thought that for a dog, if you said love the lake, I'd have gotten it. But he loved the salt water.
Yeah, but I think he loved because where we were, there's just really expansive miles and miles of beach.
Oh yeah, they run up and down and everything.
Like running on it, playing ball, playing with other dogs, and really, and he does love the water as well and diving in it.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, but he was funny. So he sulked all the way home because he was like, I thought we were going back to the beach. And I'm like, yeah, but we had a walk in the hills and everything on the way back. And he was like, well, it's all right, but it's not the beach. And then, yeah, he wouldn't get out the car. And he doesn't normally even like the car very much. So he's actually got really good while we were away. And then he was just like a kid. No, I am not getting out. I wanted the beach. And he's freshening himself up against the it wasn't me making it up. He's like, I'm indoors. And I left him with the door open on the drive. But I'm thinking, I can't do anything. So I've got to keep an eye on, it's like the kid you've left in the car asleep. And I kept saying, do you want to come in now? And he was jumping in the front and pressing him.
Well,
He knows what he wants.
I had to promise that we would go back. I said, why don't we go back and we'll have a weekend with Tia and Danny as well. And then he finally reluctantly allows me to pick him up. He wouldn't get out himself.
I
But
love it.
at least he had a good holiday. So anyway, lovely people. I'll this is still recording. I hope it saves because it's a bit long. But I will look forward to seeing you all next week. Let me know where you go.
Thank you so much.
Love you lot. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.